Hey friends, this is Kimmy, and today I'm going to take you through these templates. I have my Invoices CRM and pretty much like my financial summary all linked together. I'm going to show you how I do that. So, first thing, once you have access to this template, you see this page and you have the two pages over here. I highly recommend that you just drag them to the side here, do that for both, and they will show up kind of just like that. Now, let's dive into what they look like. Okay, so for my CRM, basically what I have is a gallery view of my clients. Here are the properties that I like having visibility over in the card view. So it's basically the paid invoices, how did I get this client, when did they started, their email, their name, what state they're in. Are they a lead? They might be a retainer already, or they're just an active client that sometimes gives me some projects, but more inconsistently. So yeah, the name of the business, and then I do like filling it out with like some sort of like header. These are just mock clients, but this is kind of like pretty much how I have my setup. Here, just a quick peek at the view. The list view, sorry, and then see, it's kind of like the same information just laid out differently. And I also have a view for a form that you can actually share with your clients, get them to fill out the basic information, and then once they're done and submit this form, you will be able to see their info load in here, and then you just have to go ahead and fill out, information that they wouldn't have access to. But yeah, pretty much this is how I start the process. I have all my clients in here, and then let me take you through this navigation, which is kind of pretty handy for meetings and all that good stuff. So if I open this page, I also have links to the databases that are inside this page right here, but let's go into the meetings page. So what this looks like, it's basically I have a checklist for things, actions that I want to take before a call, during the call, and after the call. For me, it's really helpful to have this handy. And then I have a meeting room and all forms. All forms is pretty much just a link, a quick, way to grab my links from, like, I might have some forms at different platforms like Google Forms if you don't use Notion for some reason. And then it's just a good way to have them like handy for you if you're in a call, or all the information that you need to provide your clients. And then for the meeting room, it's really cool. Every every page that you add will be a new meeting, and then you can name it like maybe brand chat, and you can fill out with an agenda, the schedule a date, which can link to your calendar as well. Like you can even be as granular as picking a time right from here, syncing that to your calendar, and then picking your client. So let's say it's the unicorns. You might also want to leave this empty if it's a new client that you don't have information for yet, but it is really nice to be able to tag it later so that you have access to this information and you can ask AI questions and summaries and all that good stuff. Picking the type of call or meet. And then the summary, like I said, you can either have this change to AI autofill, or you can do it manually and just type however you like. But the magic really happens here when you go inside and you have this transcribing property. So the way you get to this is if you create a new one, you go here and you do meet and you start transcribing. So as soon as you start the call, you click here, it will transcribe, you come back and stop it, and you have a whole summary or notes transcription of your call. So the way this is really helpful is that it's just loaded information into this database, and it will give you so much insightful information. You can ask AI and all that good stuff. So yeah, I highly recommend keeping some sort of database for meetings, tying them back to your client. Remember, they are all connected, and then this will give you so much powerful information. So yeah, this is it for CRM. Next, I'm going to talk about invoices. Okay, so now going to finances. Let me open this page. Let's dive right into it. So the very first thing I like seeing is my financial summary. This is basically taking everything from my income and minus expenses and giving me the total per quarter. So the way that I have this set up is every quarter I create a new page. That page is then linked to every single thing that I add to my expenses and income, and that they do this magic of totaling it up for me here and giving me my earnings. And I also set up calendar reminders for when I have to pay quarterly taxes, and then a little tag that you can move that from yes or no. It also highlights color codes where you were in the green or the red for that month, and then you can see the calendar for what's upcoming with tax payments and all that good stuff. So yeah, this is kind of like my one place that's like a total up from all of the things. And I like having the view this way. You can customize however you like. You can also just hide certain quarters if you want. I kind of like seeing, what I have going on, and then I just kind of like filter them out as I need by ear, however you prefer. Okay, so for my invoices, let me show you something really neat. Here. Okay, so the way I have this set up is I have all the properties from the CRM, not all, but the important ones, load up in here so that I can easily copy and then update that invoice information. So once I create a new page, a template will load up with all this information already in here. All I have to do is update the invoice for. This is already pulling from my database. This is also pulling from my database, and this is the due date is actually auto-calculated with a formula to be due a week after I send or create. And it's all in here already for the client to see. I only have to share this page with them when I'm ready. Yeah, I recommend you going into this database template and updating this information to be your own, so that you don't have also the payment, so that you don't have to do that every time you create an invoice. They would already be your standards. You do that at a template level. I will show you that next, but for now, let's just talk about the invoicing system. So like I said, you already have the type here, the code, sent, amount, due, all those things you fill out through here or here, however you prefer. And then the invoice for can copy here, everything that you need, client email, copy, paste it in here. Then you just fill out if it's itemized, or it might just be one service like a website design or whatever. So yeah, you just go ahead, do it here. We'll give you a little sum. And then you just have to, like I said, have your payment information, share this with your client, and you're good to go. So yeah, this is all you have to do for invoicing. So I'm going to show you, if you go here, click this drop down, see how this is the default. So like I said, this is the template within this database. So this is where you go to edit the information that will be loaded every time you press new. So every time you create a new page in this database, this will show up. So whatever you change inside this template is what will be the standard. So yeah, I recommend that you go ahead and fill this out first before you start adding any invoices, so that it saves you time. And another thing that's really neat about this is, see how I have this invoice for the unicorns that are 20 grand and they're not paid. The minute they pay, I can change this to received. And I like to have the paid on manually filled, because sometimes it takes me a couple days to catch up with, just what I have to entry. And I want to make sure that I put the date exactly the date that I received the money, not the date that I was able to come here and do it. If I had this automatically, it would just, every time I change from sent to received, it would fill this out and also fill out the date, but that is not always true. So I like putting this manual. If you prefer it be automatically filled, let me know. I can give you a formula for that. We just have to change this to a formula property. And then you fill out the type of payment, and then make sure you link to your tax bracket. If you want to tag your project pipeline database here, you can change this property to be a relation, going here and here, and then just make sure you link to whatever database you use to track your projects. Next one, expenses. pretty similar system where you have unpaid, this doesn't get filled, then paid, this gets filled. And then for both these databases, you can see your expenses tracked by quarter by these filters and views, and they only show up here after it's been received, because then the amount paid will show up. Or sorry, actually rather the paid on will show up because you're pulling from the date. And then same thing here. When it's paid, it shows up here. Make sure your tax link is there, and it will show up in this financial summary at the end and give you the totals. So yeah, another thing that I wanted to show you is this cost of business. So this is pretty much just a planner. And what I like to do here is I like to list all of the potential expenses that I might have to run my business, and then have them listed by monthly and yearly. Yearly is a formula, so you want to always load the amount on the month so that it auto calculates. Let's say you only know the yearly, make sure you divide that by 12 and then put the information here so that it will load up correctly. And then you want to set the percentage of that tax, I guess, that what is deductible, so that this also auto calculates for you. Build and the category, and then you can add some notes if you want. But yeah, this is just like a way to like plan your business so that you know, like, how much do I need monthly to run my business? How much do I need yearly to be, just breaking even? And then you can kind of see here, it's a view with the active. So as soon as something starts, then it shows me actively now the things that I might have to run my business. Monthly, I need $240, and then yearly, I might need $2,886. But yeah, then I know what can be coming down the pipeline, and I can budget. So this is just like kind of like a budgeting area, but it's nothing active, nothing that's linked to anything. I'm just like, I use it as a planner. The real linked information comes from these two databases that kind of filter into this one and gives me this amazing financial summary. So yeah, I hope you like this. If you have any questions, reach out to me. But yeah, I wish you good luck and great business. Bye.